Hey folks, John with Complete Technology Solutions, your friend in the computer business. Now, today is an interesting episode for me. It's kind of an homage. As a lot of you know, I do have my YouTube channel, but I also do a whole lot of stuff for our Facebook for the Cattle Barn Flea Market. And I will go ahead and put a link down here in the description so you guys can go take a look at that and see what I'm doing. But one of the guys there actually noticed that I was wearing a shirt that came from one of my favorite YouTubers out there. His name is the 8-Bit Guy, and he actually lives right here in Texas. I contacted him recently and asked him a few questions because this is all relatively new to me, and he gave me some fantastic advice. I bought a bunch of shirts from him. This particular episode, in fact, is kind of an homage to him because he's actually done this one before. So when I saw this come into the donation box, I thought, I got to pull this and do it for him. So, without further ado, hang tight, and we'll get right to our project. Okay, folks, so not too long ago, he had actually done an episode on this toy also. I was a huge fan. When this first came out, I had one as a kid. I'll be the first to admit it enthralled me. This one and one other toy that I still haven't been able to find. I don't know if any of you guys remember. There was it was a helicopter, and I cannot remember what it was called, but yeah, the helicopter was on a pivoting base stand, and basically you were able to control the forward and back, the pitch of the blades to make it go forward or backwards. If any of you guys can remember the name of that, drop it down there in the comments for me. I'd love to find one of those and restore it for the channel. But that's not what we're talking about today. Today, the project, now this is really cool. Comes from the Wayback Machine. Well, way back for some of us. In 1984, I was 14 years old, and I remember the commercials on this like it was yesterday. This comes from a company everybody knows called Radio Shack, and this is the Radio Shack Armatron. Now, I know that this one is actually broken, so before I brought it on to the screen here, I threw some batteries into it. We're getting zero out of it, nothing at all. So we're going to be taking this step by step together. We're going to clean it all up, and as you can see, I hope the new Stumpy is actually getting how bad this is. It looks like it was probably sitting in a field somewhere. So it's pretty gross and grimy and sticky, but we're going to take care of that too. So hang tight, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Okay, folks, back with you. So we're going to go ahead and start the disassembly on this. A couple of things to note on it. First of all, the tubes here are actually just for presentation. They don't actually do anything. So we're going to go ahead and pull those off just to make cleaning a little bit easier on this thing. And I'm going to, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to leave the two up top here on because they are pretty well in there, and I do not want to bust this tubing. So we'll take it off the top. I'll clean it around from there. The next thing we're going to go ahead and do is, and I've made this, I was going to make this mistake. When the 8-Bit Guy did his video, he learned that even though if you pull the bottom screws out, you still have to disassemble this from the top. So we're going to go ahead and pull the bottom screw out here, and then we're going to take a look and see what we've got to work with. Hang tight. Okay, folks, now, this is disassembled in a couple of ways. Now, one thing that I did learn is there are actually 6 screws, 2 here, 2 here, and 2 here. These actually are the ones that will release the bottom, but you have to disassemble it from the top completely. However, before we do that, I wanted to let you know, this one did not have one of the problems that he had. These contacts are actually very, very clean. So this wasn't stored without a battery in it. So my guess is the issue is probably internal, either a broken solder connection or a wire. We'll find out what that is as we go along. So hang tight. We're going to flip her over and take the top off, and we'll be right back with you. Okay, folks, so as you can see, I pulled the top and removed it from the bottom. Now, this is actually removable as well. It's on this arm right here with these little brackets, and you can remove the arm. And the reason I want to do this is one of the issues that he had on the last one. These little teeny gears right here. On the one he had, this one in particular that controls the claw opening and closing was broken. So I wanted to inspect these anyway because they are a known point of failure on these. And if I'd had to, I could have 3D printed them. But as it turns out, these look like they are all in pretty good shape. The gear mechanism looks like it's in pretty good shape. And if you look down into this, I got to tell you, this looks like, I'm gonna tilt Stumpy here a little bit. This looks like something right out of a horror movie. The Jaws of Death, let me tell you. So, what we're going to go ahead and do, I'm going to tilt Stumpy down here so we can see this a little better. All right. All right, first of all, let's check these little sticks. We can clean those up. Put those over here. All right. Now, whenever you do a disassembly, now one thing that I really like about my little mat that I use here, I've got separate little boxes, which are actually processor slots, different kinds, but they work out really well for this. As you pull out screws in different areas, you put them in their own box, and you'll be able to monitor where everything came from. That makes things a little bit easier when you're doing a reassembly. But I know that underneath this is a massive bunch of gears. I've seen this before, so we're going to get to that here in just a second. Before we do, I'm going to take a look at it. It looks like I may have found our broken connection. All right, so in 1 second here, I'm going to resolder this connection, and we're going to get right back with you, and we'll see what it looks like. All right, folks, back with you. All right, so what we've done is this connection right here was actually broken off, and I have resoldered the connection, and it is secured on both sides. We're looking good. I went ahead and verified they are clean, and there's not excess solder. So before we go too much further, I'm going to go ahead and put batteries in this and see if it works at this point. So hang tight just 1 second here. Got a couple of D-cell batteries. I'll flip this over, and let's throw some batteries in it and see what it actually does. Cross your fingers, and we'll see if we get any kind of response out of her at all. All right. Go. Aha! So we are getting some response. Looks like we are getting some gears spinning in there. Yep. Those are spinning at the bottom. Yep, those are all working. Let's check the other side. That's the outer gears. Those are spinning, so we're good. All right, so we're going to shut this down. It looks like at this point all of the gears are responding normally. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to complete the cleanup here. We'll start with these outside pieces because these are a little easier. So we'll start with this one. And some good old-fashioned Windex and paper towels will usually take care of the nasty stuff on the outside. There was something sticky on these, and I'm not sure if, odds are it probably did belong to a kid, so it probably goop from hands. We all know how that is. But we're going to go ahead and give her a spray down and see what it looks like when we get it all cleaned up. There you go. Back to its original shiny, pretty state. And as you can see, those stickers are perfect. They are a little dirty, but they are in good shape. So let's go ahead and get that just right here. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Now we're back to our good shape. You can see the shine on that. Looks perfect. All right, we're going to go ahead and move to the gear. It looks pretty good. I am probably going to go ahead and drop in a little lithium grease on these just to be sure. I think that it's possible that one of these, no, they're not stripped. They're running well. Could use a little bit of grease, though. So I will probably drop a couple drops of lithium grease inside this just to go ahead and make sure that everything is running well. Okay, folks, so what I've decided to do, since it's now functioning, and we know it's functioning, and I'm able to, from the side here, you can actually inspect the gears inside, and the gears themselves look like they are in really good shape. By the way, you want to be careful because the center, if you ever pull these out, all of these gears are removable, and it's kind of like a little stacking game in there. So you want to be real careful because if they fall out, you'll be putting them all back in. So, and I speak from experience, by the way. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to leave the base together. There's no reason to pull it apart since we know it now functions. And we're going to go ahead and start reassembly. I'll be right back with you. Okay. All right. So during the reassembly here, I was going ahead and I was checking these gears because This is the one that actually drives pretty much everything in this. And I noticed that a couple of them were nice and loose, and they did actually turn the spindles normally. You can see that. But a couple of them were kind of tight. And I'm assuming that they are probably pretty dirty and grimy over the years. So what I'm going to do is I've got some nice lithium grease. This is what I usually use to lube up any of these gears because it doesn't make things too messy, but it will free these up and smooth it out a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little lithium grease down into each one of these little gears to kind of smooth it out a little bit. We'll be right back with you. All right. Another good tip is as you're going for the reassembly, test it periodically to see how things are moving to make sure that it's all doing what it's really supposed to do. It's a good tip. And everything appears to be doing what it's supposed to be doing. All right, so we're going to go ahead and complete the reassembly and be right back with you. All right, folks, so we got her all back together here, looking a whole lot cleaner. This actually, it looks a lot more like it did when it first came off the shelf. So we'll fire her up. Let's spin her around a little bit. Oh, yeah, there we go. Oh, I remember this. Yeah, I think we're going to have some fun with this. Well, guys, this has been a very fun project. You know, I never want to see stuff like this go away. These toys they were all part of our childhood. We all remember what they were like. So when you find them, don't trash them. Let's try to restore them and let's keep passing them on. So thank you for joining me. Have a great night.